Hey everyone, welcome to my platform. I hope everyone's doing well and safe. I'm back with another important series from AWS which is trending in the market, and we will discuss about AWS organizations and control tower. Basically how you can manage multiple accounts if you have in the organization from a centralized system, plus how you can automate a lot of different stuff like account creation, pushing out the policies with the help of these two services within AWS. So this entire series is divided into number of videos, so you don't have to worry about listening to me continuously for 3 to 4 hours, right? So that's why dividing the videos, the concept, demos and everything into number of videos will help you to gain more excitement to understand the services within the world of AWS. So let's not waste much time in talking and deep dive into the agenda. We will start with the concept of AWS organization. Very important. Why organization is needed, what is organization, and what all benefits we are getting from AWS organization. Once we get understanding of AWS organization, my next video is towards practical demo. I will show you how you can configure AWS organization. Already I have a organization configured, but I'll show you the steps and I'll show you how you can invite multiple accounts into your AWS organization. Once the organization concept and demo gets completed, we will move towards landing zone, towards the concept. Again, the 3 pointers: why, what, and benefits, along with control tower, because both works in tandem: why, what, and benefits. So we need to understand organization first, then move towards landing zone, and then control tower. Okay. So landing zone, I will elaborate a bit on the best practices side when you create the accounts, basically the account concept. We will try to understand the network account concept, log archive, workload, shared services, and security account. So these are the best practices what we get when we kickstart the control tower, the landing zone area within AWS. And finally, I will show you the control tower practical demo. So once the demo gets completed, we get all the understanding. Finally, I will end up this entire series with help of service control policies, because this is very important, where these are the permission boundaries that get pushed out to each of the accounts as part of the best practices, along with the concept and practical demo. So you don't have to worry about that I'm not covering the practical demo. I'm covering the concept first and then moving towards the demo, so that you guys get a crystal clear understanding of the services and ready to implement in your environment. So let's understand why AWS organizations need it, because this is very important point for us to understand. Why can't we operate without AWS organization service? Yes, we can, but there are like drawbacks associated with that. One of the major concern with multi-account management within a company is you cannot have a common standard policy or a permission boundaries set across 100 accounts. Let's say if you are using 100 accounts, right? Every group is using their own set of accounts like dev, stage, prod, right? That calculates to 100 accounts, 100 different AWS account. Okay. So one of the problem which I said earlier was you cannot have a standard policy across all your accounts. It's very difficult to manage. You have to log into each of the account, apply the policy. That is much more time consuming. Second drawback is the network, the security itself, the firewalls. Some accounts are blocking their firewalls, some accounts are allowing their firewalls across the world, which is not a best practices. So if you don't control the policies, the permission boundaries, anybody can do any kind of operations within that account, because they are the administrators, right? Third problem was more towards the billing console, the centralized billing console. But we used to have consolidated billing concept before AWS organization as well, where now imagine 100 accounts and every account is paying their own set of money, whatever they are spending it. How difficult is to manage as part of a company umbrella? So company is an umbrella. Inside that you have 100 accounts, and every account has to pay their own set of spending to AWS. or any cloud vendor, as a matter of fact. Imagine how difficult it is to do that. So that's where the concept of consolidated billing came into picture, where they clubbed all the 100 accounts spending, and the bill was like one bill for 100 accounts, and we are paying to AWS. That's not the only benefit that we got with consolidated billing. We also got the discounts. For example, let's say if you're spending some data transfer out with AWS S3 bucket, if it is huge of that 100 accounts, then you get some sort of discount. That's one of an example. We get a lot of different discounts as well over there. So that got sorted out with consolidated billing. But do we have any centralized console from where we can control the service control policies, we can control the network, we can control the security posture, audit of the all the logs of account resources and everything, right? So these are the few challenges, the important challenges that was faced by the customer. So what do enterprise customers needs to scale their AWS accounts effectively? First of all, they need to have a centralized management for policies across the accounts, which I mentioned, a standard policy as part of the company. Easily create new accounts at scale. Now this is another drawback was there, like if you have to create a new AWS account, a lot of manual steps was required. So you have to fill a lot of data for creating an account, credit card information, and everything has to be in place for one account creation. That was another major challenge. And view charges usage across accounts. So that was another important, which I mentioned earlier in my last slide. So these are the customer challenges, the generic challenges more towards maintaining and managing your multiple accounts within your company. What challenges have customer faced as they have increased their number of AWS account? Obviously, when you add one account, then 10 account, 20 accounts, till 100, 200, 300 accounts, then IAM policy replication across account requires a custom automation. I'm not saying or I'm not denying a fact that you can't automate and you have to use organization. You can also automate, but you have to spend time in thinking of writing up a code. It can be Lambda or it can be any other services that you can use to automate the service, right? Creating a new accounts involve many manual process, and billing consolidation requires manual task in multiple accounts. So obviously we do have challenges, we do have a lot of issues while not using AWS organization. So that's where the concept of AWS organization came into picture by AWS, where they say we can control AWS service, the policies itself across the accounts. You can push out a common standard policy as part of your company to all 100 accounts from one central console. You can automate the account creation process. Now within AWS account, within AWS organization, if you want to automate the account creation process, we do have the option to do that. Multiple ways of doing it: consolidated billing and usage reporting. So organization is helping us to overcome all the drawbacks what we have discussed. We can control the service, the permission boundary, the SCP, what we call it. Then we can control your, if you control the policy, then you can allow, deny, like who can create VPCs, who can create some services within AWS. And then obviously the consolidated billing and report billing. So reporting is very important for us within any cloud world. Reporting is very important for us, how much we are spending, right? So that's where AWS organization is very helpful for us. Now let's understand what AWS organization is. Now you might got a fair amount of idea what AWS organization is all about. So this is a generic definition what I have from AWS, that AWS organization is an account management service that enables you to consolidate multiple AWS account into an organization that you can create and centrally manage. The same thing I'm talking about from my first slide, that it's a centrally managed system It's an account management system that also helps you to do a service control policies. Also includes account management, consolidated billing capabilities that enable you to better meet the budgetary, security, compliance need of your business. One of the important factor in this particular line is compliance and security. I might compromise for a cost. I might pay $100 extra. I can't compromise on the security. That is one of the major factor for me to land up in a cloud world. An administrator of an organization, you can create accounts in your organization, invite the existing accounts to join the organization. So this functionality is also present within an organization. So for example, I am running my 10, 20 accounts, but I haven't configured AWS organization, right? So that's one way of doing it. Either you start your business, you create AWS organization, you land up, adding up all the different accounts to your organization and do whatever you want to do as part of the central system. Or let's say if you're already running your workload and you haven't configured your AWS organization, then you can do that. After doing that, you can invite the existing account as well. So you can just migrate the existing account into your AWS organization. So all the policies and everything can be controlled from AWS organization itself. So that's what AWS organization is all about. So I hope you got the clear concept of what AWS organization is, why we need AWS organization, what all challenges that we have without organization, and how we are removing those challenges. Now let's understand the key concept. So this is more of a AWS organization where basically what we do, we have a root account. Obviously, whenever you create, right, whenever you create AWS account, you get a root account. Now we call it as master, which is also called as a payer account. Okay, so within payer account, what you can do, you, as part of the best practices, don't run any of your workload on the payer account. Just leave the payer account to do the consolidated billing, to do the SCPs, service control policies, to control the compliance, security, and everything. Don't run any of your workload on master account or a payer account. Keep it separate. Now, within the concept of organization, we something call it as OU, organization unit. Okay, so these are the OUs containers that what you are seeing over here. Now, as part of the best practices, as I said, so for example, let's say you have different companies A, B, and C, right? So now you have purchased those company as an example, or let's say within an organization you have a different department, operations, managed services, then HR, then other departments, right? So in that case, what you can do, you can create a organizational unit like business unit 1, prod, test, and dev, business unit 2, prod, test, and dev, and then third business unit, prod and dev, as per the requirement, right? Then what you can do, you can push the policies from your master account to all these accounts, like a common policies to all these accounts. Now it is not necessary that the policies that you applied for BU1 is applicable for BU2. Obviously, I'm talking about in terms of giving the permissions. BU2 people cannot access BU1 prod as an example, right? So in that case, I have to create a specific policies for business unit 2. Same for SS unit, right? So this is a combination of a generic concept, the key concept on which organization is working on. Organizations, root, master account, these are the member accounts which are created under OU. So these are the accounts. The symbols are the accounts. Then we have OUs, which I mentioned, organizational unit, and SCPs, service control policies, which are more of a permission boundaries. So this is another diagram of the key concept that will help you to understand the entire concept of organization in a deeper way with organizational unit concept. So let's say we have a root account, then we have policies, We call it as service control policies, permission boundaries. Then we have two OUs, let's say two different separate departments. Within that OU1, we have one AWS account, and then we have created OU, which is basically a sub OU within the parent one. So this is your parent OU, this one is parent, this one is child. Within child members, we have two different AWS account. So this is called master AWS account, and whatever accounts we are creating, these are the member accounts, or you can say a child account. The same pattern we have for this one. We have another OU, OU2 on the right hand side. Within that we have two AWS account, and within that we have OU 2.1, you can say, which is a sub OU for this one. Under that we have three AWS account. Now if you see the policy implementation over here, it's not mandatory that you apply policy at the parent level. You can also apply a policy at sub OU level as well, which is basically at child level, right? Now, again, if you apply policy at the parent level, all the accounts, all the members, by default, it gets inherited. But I can also apply specific policy at specific account, specific OU or sub OU level. So that's how the concept of organization unit gets, segregated into a model of this particular structure. How does organization complement our AWS IAM? So this is more of your organization, this is more of your IAM, right? Within organization, we are creating accounts, we are creating OUs. Now OUs, consider OUs are more towards your logical grouping of your accounts. So club your multiple accounts and place inside one OU. So that is basically your OU. And then attach SCPs to the OUs. Okay. How IAM is getting complemented over here. So we are creating users, roles, policies in an account, assignment of those users or management of those users to roles in an account, cross account trust, delegation and federation. So I have already created a video long back where I have two accounts and I'm using a cross account role access. So I'll share that link. Actually, I will share the entire link of AWS IAM, because you need to understand IAM concept, because that is very important. These are the permission boundaries that we play around to access one services to another services, or one account to another. That's where we play around with the service control policies. So I'll share the link. If you don't know about IAM, please go through that entire series. Finally, I will be ending up this lecture with the benefits of AWS organization. You might have got a fair amount of idea what all benefits are, but still let's go through it. First, automate the AWS account creation and management, provision of the resources with AWS CloudFormation stack sets. At the end of this entire series, I'll be sharing one public document of AWS where, with the help of Lambda function, service catalog, we create accounts. So basically we automate the entire account system. But if we go with the control tower section, you don't really need to do that, but you should have multiple options while doing the implementation. And I'll let you know while sharing that this particular cloud formation stack sets documentation, because there is a concept behind that, why we should use this one, not the other service. Maintain secure environment with policies, management of security services, govern AWS services, resources, regions. Again, from compliance perspective, very important factor. Centrally, we are managing the policy. We are auditing as well. So whatever each account is doing, we can log all into one consolidated account. Okay. View and manage the cost with consolidated billing, and configure your AWS services across multiple accounts. So when you configure AWS account or AWS organization, there is an option to create an AWS account. You can also invite the existing account if you don't have organization enabled. So I hope this clears a lot in terms of the concept, why we need it, what exactly AWS organization is all about, what all challenges that we faced without organization, and how we are removing those challenges in order to protect, or I would say make our life easier with the help of AWS Organization Service. So place out a comment in comment section if you're facing any issue. I'll see you in next lecture with the practical demo on AWS Organization. Have a nice day. Bye bye.